unlike some other professional services, there's a choice as to whether or not you make use of them. However, the good news is that there's a lot that small business owners and micro-biz owners can do themselves. So yes, it's great if they can, if they want to hire an agency to do it, but they can also do an awful lot, which is just good common sense. So, and also it's important to know that businesses are interested in hearing from, I should say, publications are interested in hearing directly from business owners. So all is not lost. Public relations typically becomes cost effective for businesses if they've got an amazing story to tell, and if they have a certain critical mass business-wise. I would certainly be cautious of anyone who said, well, let's invest in PR so that we can actually grow our business and then the PR pays for itself. Having said all that, what's amazing is how many people approach PR agencies and expect people to work for free, which is crazy. So basically the answer is that there is an awful lot out there that small business owners can do to get their name out there, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. In fact, if they're shy, what they can do is buddy with another business owner and then say to yourself, you know what, let's promote each other. The other thing is, talking about your customers and your clients is far more interesting than talking about yourself. You know, look at me. Who wants to know about a PR company? Not, you know, it's fine, but you know, so. Far more interested in knowing about the clients and what you do and the difference you make. And it's all complete and utter common sense. There is quite a bit of software out there that can really help small business owners, and software for getting media contacts, software for distribution, software for media monitoring, and if you can't afford that yourself, lean on somebody who has a PR role and see if you can make use of these services. And with an awful lot of good software out there, you can always ask for a free trial and see how you get on with that. Again, to make life easy, look at 3 contacts. Say to yourself, who are the 3 most important contacts, media contacts for me? Just focus on those people, communicate with them several times frequently throughout the year, get to know them, invite them for a coffee, and you really stand a good chance of getting some profile.
Yeah, and that's what's important, I think. So thank you for all the tips. So Paul.
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but
right, okay, so it's working.
But it's just Naomi that we've got a problem with.
Yeah, something not happening with Naomi's machine. So
I'm just loving the faces she's pulling, because the fact that we can't hear her, but everybody can see what she's doing. So sci-fi folks just can't hear Naomi, and I'm like, yeah, because you need to fiddle with something, Naomi, basically. Tune in hour to Naomi tuning in. We're going to say bye to Naomi and Paul while she just sorts out her sound. Bye. Refresh you. Apparently, Sci-Fi Funk's sending you some information. We love this. Refresh your screen, Naomi. So, yeah. So let me introduce Paul into Tuning Hour. Paul is on Twitter. He's at Lord Lancaster, and he's our tech guy who last year helped to get MicroBizMattersDay off the ground when he was working with Sage. So, and he loved it. So he came back for more.
You're glutton for punishment, Paul.
He really is.
Well, do you know what? Because I've got a background in marketing and social media and content marketing and blogging and stuff like that. And I can honestly say last year is the best thing I've ever done when it comes to content marketing in terms of creating videos and blogs and social media. It was such a fun and enjoyable day, but loads of valuable information as well that was shared last time. So we did a Sage, Google for Business, and Enterprise Records. Obviously, we did. It was 8 hours of continuous broadcasting, but we used Google Plus Hangouts last year, and all that video footage is still available for people to watch from last year. And I would encourage people to look at it because it's got so much useful information, tips and advice from small business owners, Tina and Tony. And yes, what's really good for me is that even though I don't work for Sage anymore, my colleagues at Sage have continued to support it, and they've got behind this year as well, which I'm really pleased to see. And Sage is a great company, a big supporter of small and micro businesses. But I now work for Tech North, which is part of Tech City UK, a government-backed organisation to promote tech and digital businesses in the northeast, northwest, and Yorkshire. So yeah, I'm just here to kind of remotely try and help spread the word and get more people to watch today and bring people in and out. But
people in and out that have got signed, and it's great because we're using Blab today, and over here we've also got our live streaming that should now be connected, so you'll be able to see us from all angles. And then we've also got Dan with a permanent camera. From our point of view, we're sat here with cameras coming at us from all angles. But we still can't hear Naomi. So I think the Tech North guys need to get down to Manchester and get this lady sorted out with her sound, and that would be great.
Naomi, where are you working from home today?
Yeah, she's in Manchester. You see, I can lip read. It's a good job. I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to let Paul maybe get her some advice, and then, or even, I suggest, Naomi, what you do is you download the app on your tablet or phone and try and connect with us that way. So we're going to say goodbye to you for the time being. Oh, she's gone. You see? And we've got all sorts of messages coming up at the side. So this is actually a great tool because I work with a lot of my clients remotely. And as I say, I work with, well, I do also, I've got lots of hats, including this Yorkshire flat cap. Look, it's got Yorkshire written right through it. So we're having a wear a hat type of day as well today. Tina's taken hers off for her interview. But my flat cap is 100% Yorkshire. It's designed by a wonderful lady who's one of my mentees.
Lovely. Oh wow, it's got a, I love that.
It's got a light blue underside.
Very good.
So the lady that designed these is one of my mentees, and her name's Rhiannon Kemperdue Miller, and this is a Kemperdue flat cap.
That's fantastic.
But she's home based. She's a single mum, and she.
You need to get your hat better in the picture.
Yeah, look. So, yes. But actually, what she's done this year, well, last year she worked with a gentleman called Keith Madeley, who's actually Mr. Yorkshire, and this material actually has Yorkshire written right through it.
Oh my goodness, I thought you were exaggerating.
No,
oh my gosh.
Look,
yes, of course it does.
So
the pinstripes actually are words written vertically.
Yeah. So
Yorkshire.
It says Yorkshire.
That's mad.
So it's absolute. So it's real Yorkshire.
Really
but normally the flat caps that Rhiannon designs are. She designs them in Yorkshire. They're then sourced. The material is sourced, and even the sheep eat Yorkshire grass in most cases. So,
and I'm sure we all drink Yorkshire tea as well.
Yeah, we do drink Yorkshire tea. We're going to do a poll about that. Hello, Naomi.
I'm on the phone now. Can you
We're kicking Paul out. See you, Lord Lancaster. Yeah, way to go, Idaho. Are you all right?
Right, it's working. I'm on the phone though.
Okay, so Sci-Fi Funk has said woohoo, and nothing more than me in the first hour with all this technical stuff going on. We've only got another 7.5 hours to go. So come on, Naomi, tell us your story a little bit about where you've been, what you've done, and how we've ended up working together. Let's start again.
Right, start from the beginning. Before working for myself, I worked in travel industry for 7 years, and I worked in recruitment for 4 years. And then I had 2 babies. I was a stay-at-home mum for 4 years, and randomly, while researching party ideas for my daughter, I came across an American website called Baby Loves Disco, which was in 27 cities across America. And it'd been spread purely by the mummy word of mouth, and I thought it sounded amazing. So I sent them an email on a whim and just said, have you thought about bringing it to UK? This was in January of 2007. In September 2007 I launched it in London and Manchester, and it just went boom. Within 2 years, we were in 9 cities across the UK. We had PR coming out of our ears. If you sort of quantified it into, you know, how much it would have cost advertising, it would probably have gone into millions because it was worldwide, and that was like, you know, ongoing. It was, so that sort of changed my life really. I then started to do Dragon's Den in 2008. Was offered investment and turned it down by the lovely Deborah Meaden, and then started getting involved with women's enterprise, youth entrepreneurship, which sort of led me to the next business. So I ran the events company for about 4 years, sold my shares to our Scottish host fund, who's still running the events, and then set up a youth enterprise and employability company with 2 guys that I met on Twitter. Did that for 3 years. And then I've been working for the last 2 years with a guy called Andy Jackson, and we have a consultancy called 4Hub. I would say that the sort of main things around it are working with organisations around collaboration, culture, communication, community. I also have a social media consultancy, and Tina and I are working together on Your Business for You, which I'm really excited about. So we're going to be doing lots of things this year around, you know, people looking after yourself as well as your business, because, you know, last year I had a bit of a crap year really. I was out of action for about 4 months, only sort of dipping the toe in the water now. And, you know, because I sort of got diagnosed with severe depression, which ironically, you know, everyone was saying, it's like, oh God, yeah, you're depressed, you're always happy all the time. Well, this time wasn't. I think a lot of it was attributed to being, you know, putting pressure on myself work-wise. I think, you know, one thing I will say, and I have put this on the blurb that I've got on the website, is micro businesses, you know, in my experience, work really well together. We support each other, and I think, you know, we are open up for collaboration and working together. You know, Tina and I, it was a conversation on an email. Next thing, we had a website set up. We were blogging. We were talking about it and planning what we were going to do. It was really, really quick. So my experience, I suppose, because I wear lots of different hats, is around digital, startups, women's entrepreneurship, social enterprise, youth entrepreneurship. I do loads and loads of mentoring, which I love. I was lucky enough to be in the Maserati 100 last year, which was a massive honour, which is basically a list that central entrepreneurs and Maserati did to support the people that support the entrepreneurs of tomorrow, basically. That was a really, really big accolade.
I think we're talking about PR and press, yeah. And I think awards are something that people don't give enough credit to.
Oh yeah, that's a good point actually. Yeah,
because I think they can be quite time consuming, can't they? Submitting the entries or getting people to nominate you. I am the world's worst. You only need to ask Tony that question. I'm not very good at either saying, will you nominate me, B, or even when I'm nominated, saying, oh yeah, I'm worthy of this award. But I'm brilliant at telling other people to go ahead and do it. And but it can make great publicity.
It's a really good point. If you get an award that's a surprise, then make sure that the world knows about it. And put the branding on your website, put it at the bottom of your emails. Why? Because it's just a way of people remembering it. And yep. You know, who can't visualise a Maserati car? So, assuming that is the right Maserati, I got there. Yeah. So, hope I got that right.
It is.
No, you don't have to petrol head to work that one out. So, the other thing, which is a good tip, is if you enter any awards of any kind, make sure that if you're nominated, you do all the publicity around the nomination, because actually it's generally more newsworthy to be nominated than to actually win it. Because when you've won it, so have a load of others. But if you're pushing with the nomination, there you have it. You want me out?
Do you want Phil in now?
Yeah, Phil would be lovely to meet Phil.
I'm just going to bring Phil in.
Back. So that's Tony nearly wrecking the table. Honestly, it's like complete chaos in here. So we're going to welcome a gentleman amongst us lovely ladies.
Bye.
Phil, are you going to say bye? Are you leaving me? Well, no, you can.
I think we need to let Phil sit on my lap.
Yeah, no, we maybe need to let Phil come and sit down. He can come and sit on. You want to see him? He's sitting on my knee, girl. Here, come and say hi. Hello.
Hi.
Very pleased to meet you. You might need to sit a bit closer because you've got to get on.
Sit on
So
yours.
we've had. Have you been downstairs in the green room? Can you see us? Or did you just
no,
fly
it
in?
wasn't working.
All right, it's not working. Okay.
Well, it might be working.
It might be working out. So Phil is actually a business owner from just down the road.
Yeah, Portobello Road.
Yeah, Portobello Road. That's where you are. And as part of what we've done with MicroBizMattersDay, and from the great support we've had from Portobello Business Centre, we offered an opportunity for one of their businesses to come and join us and chat a little bit about the business. So Phil, this is Naomi. She's in Manchester.
Hi, Naomi, Manchester.
I quickly say,
Is it raining?
I did a project about 2 years ago with Portobello Road Market and Kensington and Chelsea Council, which worked with a group of about 20 young people, and it was around the markets, and I absolutely loved it. So big hello to you.
Bye.
Okay. So we're going to tell us a little bit about your business, and you've been running for a year or two, haven't you, really?
Tonic's 15 years old. It's a shop at the north end of Portobello Road, selling menswear, sort of high-end menswear. Started in November 2000, and yeah, it's a good brand. It's a good shop. We've built a really good business there. It's a lot of regular customers, and yeah, it's well-established clothes business now.
So what made you go into that business? Were you already in menswear?
Yeah,
Well, you probably
already,
were, because you are a man, so you
Yeah.
were probably in menswear.
I was wearing menswear. Yeah, no, I was a buyer for a big retailer for 6 years prior to that.
Okay.
And yeah, so I'd done a fashion degree. I'd worked for Paul Smith, and then I was a buyer for a big retailer for 6 years. And it was while I was there that I decided I wanted to start my own thing. And it was originally with a colleague that I used to work with as a buyer. And basically, we were buying for stores that I didn't actually like that much. So I thought I could do a better job than those stores were doing. So that's why we started it.
Okay. So when you started out, is the business the same now as it was back then, or have you had to? I mean, this is tune in hour, and one of the things I wanted to talk about is how you tune into your customers when you're buying, and how have you had to change? What you thought back then was going to work? Did it work, or did you have to?
Yeah, no, it did work, but you evolve. You have to evolve. You can't, you're constantly having to move on, and as you know, I originally started selling brands like Diesel and young brands, young kind of fashion brands. I had an original vision for the store of being to 18 to 25-year-old customers. That was my target customer. But then you adapt, you grow up. As customers grow up, you're buying different things, and it's a lot different to where it was then. And originally I was selling women's wear. We were selling men's and women's wear, and I wouldn't. We dropped women's wear because women's wear is too difficult. Women are too difficult.
Yeah. Well, I could have. Yeah, exactly what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
I'm probably not quite. I used to have a kids' clothes and shoe shop.
Right.
So I sold Continental brands, and that's and I went into that, and actually. Just before the credit crunch hit, so the worst time in retailing.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I'm passionate about, and I'm an independent business ambassador. Anybody that knows me knows I only shop indie, and where we live in Scarborough, we're lucky because we've got an independent supermarket, but I only shop indie wherever I can. And but the worst business that I've had, and I've had a few, was probably retailing, and I found it hardest. And they're like buses of customers, I think, in retailing. You wait all day for one to come along, and then they don't, and then they all come in at once at the last minute.
Still the same,
yeah. So, but it's hard. It's a hard business, and I think it is. And to keep that. Have you struggled to keep the bricks and mortar store going, or is most of your focus around that?
That's the main part of my business. Okay. And it's we sell online. We've got an all right online business which we're developing all the time. We're evolving it. We only relaunched it 18 months ago, but it's still about the shop. Yeah. We can do something different in the shop.
Yeah.
We've got cool customers, you know. Customers come to the shop because it's a good place to be.
Mm. Yeah.
It's kind of that's where it's interesting.
I'm just going to say bye to Naomi because we've got some sound difficulties. So I'm just conscious that even though it took us ages to get you, it's been a pleasure. And enjoy the rest of your day and stay tuned in. All right, take care. Bye. So, with regard to so you said you used to sell brands. So do you still sell brands?
Yeah.
And do you design your own, or do you just sell brands that other people are designing, or how do you go about that? I believe you've done some work recently with that.
Yeah, I've got two. I'm involved in two businesses really.
Yeah.
So Tonic is my business, which is sells branded menswear, which is the core of my business, and takes up most of my time. And now, September 14, I launched a brand with Paul Weller, the musician. Yeah. And that's our own brand. Okay. We designed that as a collaboration together, and I make it happen. You know, I don't make the clothes physically, but I work with the factories and we put that together. So we've just launched our third collection. So that's another part of what I do.
And is that I know it's related, but which bit has had its most challenges, or Yeah. So what have been the challenges because I mean I was just talking about my flat cap, and the lady that designs these is actually one of my mentees, and I know the difficulties that she's had just with designing flat caps. Then it's 100% Yorkshire, so she wanted Yorkshire tweed. So just the sourcing, the manufacturing, the design of it, and that's just a flat cap. So a whole menswear range must be. Yeah.
It's you know, hey, it's rewarding. To come up with a concept and realise it and get it through the whole production process to the shop floor to the customer is, you know, it's hugely rewarding.
Yeah.
But it's hard work. It's a lot easier buying stuff.
Yeah.
Wholesale and selling it. But that's what I used to do as a buyer. I used to develop own label collections. So to be doing it again, getting up 15 years later, you know, it was a learning curve, but it's, you know, it's great fun. But
and how did that come about when you'd already got? Did you get because I find that a lot of micro business owners get to a stage in their business. So you must have had Tonic for 13 years there, and you get to that stage where one of my sayings is, if the passion's in doubt, get out. So I think that because you've got to have a passion for that business. Did you feel that you wanted to diversify, or did it just happen? Was it one mad night in the pub over a pint, or how did you come about that? Because a lot of micro business owners do have a number of different businesses, or I mean, I have loads, but that's just because some of mine are family businesses that I'm involved with. What made you want to?
I didn't go out looking for it. It was Paul Weller was a customer, and Paul had come into the shop, and we're similar. We're both from working class backgrounds, Paul and I, and we both love clothes. We're both passionate about little details. We like the whole sociological side of clothes and the roots of clothes and the stories behind things, and he'd come in and we'd have a coffee and we'd we'd just talk about clothes and different clothes that we've worn over the years and different things that we're into, and it was one of them conversations that just grew. It was a kind of, I don't know. He talked about making clothes, and I said, "Have you ever done your own thing?" And he said, "Yeah, I've done collaboration stuff, but I've never done anything in my own name as such." So I said, "Well, you know, maybe I could help." And it was just one of the, it was a conversation that just kind of grew, and we'd talk a bit more about it, and we probably spent 6 months just chatting about different ideas, and then we talked about making a couple of shirts and a couple of tops first. And
so, and if you talked about that, and what's the brand called? We haven't.
It's called Real Stars Are Rare.
Right. Okay.
There's a story behind that.
Right,
I mean,
okay.
Paul's that's a he says it's a show business saying that he heard once years ago that real stars are rare, they only come out at night.
Right. Okay.
And whether it's I don't know, I just really liked it, and it was a good name for a brand.
Right.
And where I don't know if he's trying to have if it's trying to say something else, but he just said it was a show business thing, and so that's.
Okay. Right. Okay. So that's really. And do you sell that brand in the shop?
Yeah.
Okay. And then do you sell that brand to other stores as well, or?
No, we don't wholesale it. We only sell it in tonic and on its own website.
Okay.
We looked at wholesale. We took wholesale orders, but we pulled the plug on them. We decided we didn't want to start down that route, which is, we're lucky, you know, because of Paul Weller's name, we were able to make that decision. We had a customer base there straight away.
Yeah.
Most brands don't.
No.
And that's such a luxury not to have to start with a wholesale, because most clothes brands have to start like that. But we wanted total control over it.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tina that you exchange seats with, she's her business is a PR business, and she was talking about that and talking about getting the name out there in the story. And as you say, you had that luxury of having Paul involved.
So it makes sense.
Yeah, and it does make a difference. But it's so hard to get any brand, any business off the ground.
Of course it is, yeah. It's not easy for Real Stars Are Rare.
No,
it's not. You know, you get to a point, and then there's still a lot of people don't know about that.
Yeah.
And that's got, you know, it's got Paul Weller's name associated with it. But
if you would say Paul Weller, it wouldn't be what they linked his name to, would it? That his name would be linked to all sorts of other things.
Yeah.
So. And so you balance family life, business. I know that because just getting you here today has been like, right, could you come at this time? No, because I've got to do this and do that. So how do you manage to, has that always been the same? Did you start in the business because you wanted to do it for yourself, or was it like a work-life balance thing, or did you just want out of the rat race? Did you see that as being?
My original motivation was to get away from the corporate side of my old buying job. It was to escape that office-based. Although as a buyer, listen, it was a great job. I had a great job, and I travelled, and it was great, and I enjoyed it for 6 years. But I wanted to be in charge of my own destiny. I wanted to get up in the morning and do my own thing. And yeah, it was a work-life balance question, I suppose, but I work harder now than I ever did.
Yeah, I think you do.
I work harder now than I did 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But that's because now I'm running 2 businesses.
Yeah.
But you know, it's a rewarding thing to do.
Would you ever go back to being employed by somebody?
I don't think anyone would have me. I don't. I look at people. You know,
I know no one would have me.
I don't think a retailer would give me a job in a buying office, because I don't think I'd be able to do what they want me to do.
No.
So no, I don't think I could.
No, I have a thing on my website that says that I'm unemployable. I work with other businesses in helping them with their strategy and stuff, but I know that I am completely and utterly unemployable. And I think when you've it's really interesting because statistics show. Oh, Tony's back. Statistics show that actually. Hello. Statistics show that actually micro business owners are earning less now than they were previously. It's, what is it, about 20% less?
20% less
now than they were.
And when the crash was in 2008.
As an actual business owner, or
as a business owner, owners earn money.
But actually, that then other research then shows that people are happier, though they may be earning less or working longer hours. They actually would never leave running their own business and go back to working for somebody else.
It was never my primary motivation for starting my own business. If I'd have stayed as a buyer and continued on that route, I'd probably be earning more.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not, but I'd probably be earning a lot of money in a much more of a stable environment, I guess, than I am now. But that's not why you do it. No. You do it because you want to do something different.
Yeah, and I think it's really important when people are starting out. I think you need to understand why you are doing it and actually be real. If you think you're going into it, it's like these people that say, "Oh, you're earning massive amounts of money." I'm going to start my own business because I'm going to earn loads of money. Well, actually, take a reality check.
So it's a number of years to get to earn a lot of money.
I just had a conversation outside. Someone asked me how long it took to establish, and I said honestly 10 years.
Yeah.
And no, really, I said to be an established business where it, I know my customer, knows me. I don't, it's set. The business is set now, but it took 10 years to get that. And it's only maybe in the last 5 years that you still got to work really hard. And I have to work really hard, but I know my finances. I know the business finances now. I know how to manage those finances. That's the hardest part. That's the hardest part of the first 10 years is learning how to manage your finances. And it's so key. And the first 5 years are tough. Because you have debts and and that is such a you're hamstrung by debt. It reduces your ability to make decisions having debts. When you don't have debts, that I don't have any business debts now at Tonic.
Well done.
It means you can react. You can react so much better. That you can control where you want to be with the business. You can make decisions that when you have debts, you restrict it because it affects every decision. It's a cloud.
It is, and it's a cloud on, it's back to this, your business being part of your family. That debt and your business, when it's your business, is actually, it goes right through your life. It's like, oh, well, we can't do this because the business, we need to do this for the business, or there's this outstanding on the business, and it's the reality of it. And I think it's that that focus as a micro business owner, that you have to be real about that understanding, because that's when your problems come. I mean, we've come to understand since we launched Rockers in January 2012 that actually there are three things. Well, there are two key things that we think everything comes back to, and that's customers and cash flow. And actually, without customers, you don't have a cash flow. Well, without customers, you don't have a business. And the cash flow, because it's understanding, getting it in. And the thing is with you guys in retail business, and I know this because I've been in it, that actually seasonally you get your invoices in, you then have got a massive amount of invoices to pay, and you're getting stuff in now for spring, and we haven't really had winter yet.
No. Ask him about Paul Weller.
We've done that.
Have you done Paul Weller? What was the answer? What's the answer? How did he get to be working with Paul Weller?
Yeah, well, I've that. You should have been.
Did you tell him I saw Paul Weller in Hyde Park this year?
No, I didn't tell him. He wasn't selling the brand.
Two super cool guys.
So we've reached the end of our first hour, and it's been great having you with us. So we're going to let Phil get to Tonic and do some work. So you've been working here, you've been promoting it. So it's great. So we're gonna say bye to Phil. Thank you. It's been lovely meeting you.
Good luck.
And have a great day.
Bye.
And we're gonna welcome our next guest into the studio. So. Right, we're all live. We're live on Blab. We're live on live streaming. We're live on everything now. We're all live. Come in. So I'm going to try and look at hello to people watching us out there in live streaming land. Okay, this is the camera here.
Right.
Okay, and then we've got people in Blab land. So are we going to be joined by Adrian Ashton as well at some point? So, and we've got all sorts of things happening. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I
bet you need another cup of tea by now, don't you?
Boiled water's amazing.
Oh, really?
Can I just show you these, everybody? And
I've
here.
been washing those up all morning.
So these are some mugs that we've had done, and to give as gifts to our guests. And they're designed by our lovely Gaynor Carr, who's with us today actually meeting and greeting people. She's one of our production crew. She's got a business called The Smart Station. And but they've been produced by Millie Rose in Hull. And Millie Rose is a 13-year-old entrepreneur. And she's produced these. She's just won 2 awards before Christmas. So she's great. And it's so lovely to have entrepreneurs of all different ages involved, and we've got Enterprising Young People Hour this afternoon. So one of the things we hope to have more guests during this hour, but basically this hour has been changed. We were originally going to do food and drink hour, and which was a huge success last year. And for anybody that knows or follows Tony on Twitter, you will understand that the majority of his life is run by the Choco Wine diet.
Yes.
He, in fact, if you're on Pinterest, I suggest you follow the Choco Wine diet on Pinterest. And the Choco Wine diet is literally as it sounds. It's about Rioja, and it's about, we've apparently got conflicting cameras. So now we're just moving this over here, just so you know what's going on. It's
Have you got a good sign?
It's smooth. No, you might need to sit on my knee.
Oh,
so yeah, it's so smooth. So, yeah. Apparently it's all good. It's all good. So whatever angle you're now watching us from, you should be able to see it perfectly. So where were we? The Choco Wine diet. Yeah. So we're going to have food and drink hour, but we've changed this hour for a reason, and I'm going to welcome somebody in from. I'm not actually sure where he is at the moment, but Adrian lives in Todmorden. So let's see. I hope we don't have the same technical problems. Did you see our technical problems?
No, I was.
We had a few technical. We had a few technical problems.
Yeah.
Can you hear us?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Oh yes!
Loud
Wow! Amazing!
Kill my network to get my phone working. I've frantic texts with Paul over the last 5 minutes about how Blab is killing my Windows network. I had to hard reboot it twice, and Blab still doesn't like it. So I risked my handset, and the handset, which is not an Apple, is holding. So yeah, did it.
Right. Okay.
Some sticky tape and an oak shelf, and it works.
I tell you, the bits of string are working well. So where are you today?
Today I'm in Manchester.
All right. Okay.
I'm hiding in a spare meeting room at the Greater Manchester Council of Voluntary Organisations. So they're on Twitter with the handle @GMCVO.
Okay.
I'm supposed to be actually meeting with a group of other small businesses, trainers and such like here this morning. They've given me permission to duck out to join you all.
Oh, well, that's cool. So that's fine. So I'm just going to explain a little bit, Adrian, about this hour and why we've changed it and what it's about, and then I'm going to ask you to just tell us a little bit of your story and share some of the things that you've been going through over the last few weeks. And then Elaine's joining us, and Elaine's business is Cheap Accounting, and she's going to talk a little bit about some of the support that people need around the issues that you've been facing. So originally, we were always going to set up a fund called Hit the Rocks. Tony and I, this has been in planning for the last 6 months, and the fund is a crisis fund for micro business owners. And the idea of that was to help micro business owners that had been affected by serious ill health, that may have been affected by major non-payment, which are all issues that people face, that may have been affected by partnerships or anything that's gone wrong. We've got criteria, we've got a panel set up, which Elaine's going to be one of those panel members, and we were all good to go. And then our very own county, God's own county, which you just about live in, don't you, Adrian?
I know, Todmorden is a very proud part of Yorkshire.
Yeah, so just, because my grandfather used to live there, and I think half of his house was in Lancashire at one stage, and half of it was in Yorkshire.
We fixed all of it now, it's fine.
You've sorted that out, have you? You've moved the boundary.
It's fine.
So yeah, so we were gonna, we were launching Hit the Rocks, and Yorkshire was flooded, basically. Cumbria was flooded, the north of England was flooded, Scotland was flooded, and we realised just how many micro business owners had been affected by these floods. And those floods also have had an impact on health. They've had an impact on people's well-being. One of the lovely ladies that we were supposed to be having with us today, Alison Bartram from Hart Gallery in Hebden Bridge, she's had a really tough time, because like you, we've got some sound issues. Is that you, Adrian, or is that us?
So this is the choice of Blab technology on my Android hand phone won't let me mute all the notifications.
All right, okay. So I tell you what then, let me.
Whistles and cheats.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, in case we do have problems, can you tell us your story and how you've been affected in your part of the world with the recent flooding?
Yeah, sure thing. So, like with thousands of others across the north of England, we got washed out. Our home got washed out in the Christmas floods, and the flooding is off the scale. Yes. It's set new records everywhere. So although in Todmorden and along the rest of the Calder Valley, the Environment Agency over the last 10 years have been investing millions in flood defence works, they all got absolutely swamped and washed away. And some people may have seen images in national press of places like Hebden Bridge, Mytholmroyd, Strawberry Bridge being 6-7 foot underwater. The water level being above the windows in on some shop fronts. That's then had a knock-on effect in taking out bridges, in buildings then subsiding. We've had electricity bits. So Hebden Bridge, for example, was without power for a couple of days. There was a few days before they could get phone lines working again. The banks, all the technology in the banking system shut down for a week. So all of the towns have been hit really hard in terms of the infrastructure as well as premises and livelihoods and the ability just to communicate and get stuff out. So along with countless millions of others micro businesses out there, I'm self-employed, I work from home, and I have a young family. So when the flood water started rising, which I have to say, it was an unusual flood for us because we have a floodgate, because we live in Yorkshire, we know it rains. The floodgate was out, the water came up 1.5 foot against the front door, but it didn't come into the front door, it came up through the floor. The water tables rose so much, we had about 2 inches of water come up to the living room and the kitchen floors. Which is the first time really anywhere in Toddler across the valleys had that kind of flooding. It shows how serious it was. Mm. So we're now in the process as a family of being shacked up with various relatives and others on a temporary basis while we work out our insurance claim, because we're fortunate as a household to have insurance. That means that I'm digitally nomading a lot more. So here in Manchester today, other places around the country as I go, anywhere with a Wi-Fi connection that'll have me or offer me a spot for a couple of hours is great. But then also, as well as having to keep my own business going, trying to support my family, and keep encouraging them with the 2 young boys, and also then try and keep on top of all the stuff that's going on with the house as well, and try and get the house restored. Now, that's my story. The other impact, though, is that for so many other businesses across Todmorden and the Calder Valley, it's been even worse. And so not only in terms of the flooding that's been going on, but also looting afterwards as well. And there's still, I mean, I was picking up some stories this morning. There is still looting taking place in business properties nearly 2 weeks on after the floods. So business owners, micro businesses, entrepreneurs are just about getting their heads around, okay, we now know the full extent of the damage, we can start getting things in place, we've lost this much stock, lost this much equipment, we can start to get around it, and then some, insert your own explosives here, with the crowbars, smashing open the doors and taking out whatever's left. So we've had owners in tears doing that. So it is really grim for Todmorden and the rest of the Calder Valley as well.
I know that's also been an issue. The looting has been a big issue in York and in other areas.
All over.
Yeah,
so
it's been massive.
When the stories came out in the couple of days afterwards, with the army being helicoptered in, the army were actually there to try and stop the looting. I think a lot of us think there was a visible cease and desist. Unfortunately, the army didn't stay around. So there's lots of people, biker gangs, who are ad hoc trying to do stuff. We're warned as best as possible, trying to secure and protect properties as well. So there's security issues going on. So it is all pretty rope and grim. And there was also about a week on after the floods, the Upper Calder Valley Renaissance team, who are acting as a link between all the local business networks along the valley, did an initial snapshot to kind of say, well, for those businesses we can get hold of, what do you think your recovery time is? How long is it going to take you to get back on your feet and up and go? And I made a note of this because this is quite scary actually. Half of them said we think we'll be back up within 2 months. 2 months, okay? And that's about half. 1 in 4 said we think it could be up to 6 months. And 1 in 5 said it could be, we don't know. It's at least 6 months, probably longer. So potentially we're facing the loss of up to half the businesses in Todmorden and the Calder Valley who've been hit by floods. Now, Todmorden and the Calder Valley also have higher than typical levels of people who are self-employed, micro-enterprises as well.
Exactly.
This can potentially have a huge impact on local employment, people's livelihoods as well all along the side.
I think also the other thing is that, so I'm getting lots of requests coming up on the side of Blab here to ask how you can donate to Hit the Rocks. And if you go on to www.hittherocks.org, that will take you to the page on our MicroBizMattersDay website, which will then lead you to the Just Giving crowdfunding page. And actually, I just feel I should say at this point, Adrian and I have been in conversation, and another lovely lady called Henrietta Bond, about if we have donations for Todmorden or the Calder Valley, we will ring fence those as long as they're identified on that page, and we will make sure that they just go to businesses. So we want to give grants of £500, which isn't a massive amount of money, especially when you start talking about 2 months or 6 months out of business. But the other thing that really concerns me, and if the guys at House Business in North Yorkshire are listening, they'll know how passionate I am about this. But it's actually about invisible businesses as well. So the ones that are an awful lot, and I know you've got the same in the Calder Valley area, the ones that are maybe not VAT registered, not limited companies, that are not employing staff. And so falling below the government measuring stick, and a lot of those aren't even recognised. In fact, there'll be some people that are test trading that have lost stock and stuff that they probably haven't even taken the insurance for it because they don't think that it's worth. So,
the challenge is so many businesses can't get insurance.
Yeah, exactly.
Or they're renting premises and their landlord hasn't taken out insurance. Now, although this will become slightly political, just briefly, and then we'll go back. Then we'll go back to all the micro-enterprises along the valley support each other's own recoveries about this as well. A few years ago, we had huge issues with flooding again across the country. And what came out of that was the finding that a lot of homeowners and a lot of businesses, because insurers were saving too much of risk and can't get it. So the government at the time said, we'll work with insurance companies to create a basic universal package. And then that's still going on, they're still working on that. But last autumn, the government, without anyone noticing, removed the support for businesses within that.
Yeah.
So although they're still working on plans for homeowners, and that's absolutely fine and proper, right? Businesses now backtracked on that pledge to support small businesses, which makes things like enterprise workers and the Hit the Rocks Fund even more important in terms of supporting ourselves to do that.
Yeah, and that's something that I haven't actually mentioned, in that a lot of the community funds that are out there that people are seeing and ask for donations to actually only cover residential properties. They're not covering the commercial properties, and then I am sure there will be some discrepancy, because I have a lady that I'm working with at the moment. It's not a flooding issue, but it's an insurance issue. And, you know, then once you start liaising with insurance companies, it's then, oh, so you're home based, so you realise you haven't got something at this time. I mean, we're really lucky actually, because as part of one of our supporters is Policy B, and they do insurance for freelancers. So they actually specialise in insurance for freelancers. But I think the trouble is, especially when you're running a micro business, you're looking at the cost of things. You're looking at, you know, how you can cut your costs, how you can, and insurance, I know, is one of those things that people cut the costs on, and which is really, you know, it's like with Elaine and her being here to sort of talk a little bit about how businesses can look at what they should be looking at. But I know before we're about to lose one of the cameras. It's going off to do an interview with Tim Campbell, who's here and is downstairs in the green room. But you and I aren't going to lose each other, Adrian, so that's fine.
There are some great stories that I really want to talk about in terms of how the micro businesses are working together along the valley.
Yeah, and that's fine.
And internationally, so I really want to kind of share some of those stories of encouragement.
We're gonna capture that. Don't worry. We're just gonna lose this live streaming camera now, so it's gonna run down the stairs. But I don't think you're gonna get that live streaming. Either you're gonna run downstairs with it, Dan. She's gonna run downstairs. So we'll say goodbye to you guys for a little bit, but we're staying on Blab over here. And any more cameras that are filming us anywhere? It's like, oh my goodness. So. But the one thing that you said to me was about your wife, Adrian, and we were talking about accounts.